So what's up, welcome to another build guide. So sorry for the long waited guide because I actually ordered a new microphone on Monday, so that's why I waited for the cargo to arrive. So if you don't know, I am actually not making any money from these videos still. So I actually paid it from my own pocket just to make a better content. So don't forget to hit that like, hit subscribe, join my Discord, chat with me and other players. So I'm trying to build a good community here. I'm also preparing a lot of full guides, league start to end game guides for 3.15. So also, if you are wondering what kind of builds are coming, or if you have any build concept, any build guide that you want from me as a league start to end game, also don't forget to share your opinions in the Discord. So what is this build? So this is a Chieftain build. I'm using Marohi Erqi, something that most people probably didn't even use, once. Because this has a lot of physical damage. It is a very slow weapon, actually good for slam builds, and also it has pulverize in it. So normally this weapon is 7 linked with that pulverize, obviously. So I actually tried to buy something with Fortify Corruption and ended up buying something with both Fortify and Inspiration. So first of all, you don't need both corruptions, obviously, because it is very hard to find, but only Fortify Corrupted is even an overkill. So maybe even a normal Marohi Erqi, you can check that in the path of building, is enough to kill bosses, but you should probably get something with Fortify in it, so that makes the weapon 8 linked. So mine is 9 linked, but again, because Inspiration is actually a very low level and slam skills are very slow, Earthquake is very slow because the weapon has something like 0.9 attack speed, I believe, something like that. My attack rate is also less than 1. So the build is very slow, but that's why I am actually using a cheap, rare mace while mapping. So I'm just using my weapon swap button to play with something else, some other mace, which is a rare mace. Only a 2 Exile worth of mace, nothing that special. You can even invest more, but it is more than enough to clear maps. I'm also using ground slam while mapping with that. So we are gonna all check those in the later sections. I'll just leave you with some clips right now. This is only an intro. So the main skill is obviously Earthquake. That's what I enjoyed most. Maybe you can also try other skills, maybe even Ground Slam, I'm not really sure, but Earthquake is so much fun, You just wait for the Aftershock and bam, the boss is dead. You can even one-shot Sirius. If Sirius gets one-shot, all the bosses are actually a piece of cake, So yeah, let's just watch the clips now if you are curious about the build. I'm gonna be back here later explaining everything.
Yeah, boy.
Alright, I'm back. Let's check the gear first, then the talent tree, those kind of other important stuff. So obviously I explained it at the start. Our weapon is Marohi Erqi, because this is a drop from Legion encounters. You probably want to wait a couple of days maybe if you want to try this at a league start. But this is a very slow build, so I don't actually recommend you to do this as a league start or something like that. This is something that you should probably play after a couple of weeks, you know, make some investments. Actually the build is not expensive, that expensive. I'm not using any crazy gear. You probably want to snipe a Fortify corrupted Marohi Erqi, that will be enough. But obviously it is gonna be corrupted, so that means that you're gonna have to use wall orbs and fusings on the bench craft. So that will actually make 1500 wall orbs and also fusing, so that makes the weapon at least 6 or 7 Exile of worth. So yeah, maybe if you maybe corrupted a Marohi Erqi S6 linked on your own, maybe if you got lucky, you can achieve it for cheaper. So that's up to you. So the weapon is probably around 7 Exile, I believe. Yeah, this is pretty much it. You want to link your main skill in this, which is Earthquake. I actually haven't tried any other skills. Maybe you can also tinker with those kind of other skills. Because the mace is very slow, because I also wanted to map with this character, the mapping you see, maybe you watched or maybe you are watching right now, the clips are actually not without this weapon. Maybe one of the clips, because I also put a Earthquake. So if you are watching any kind of ground slam action on the background, we are actually using another weapon. Only a curry maul, it doesn't have to be curry, but that's something that I found for cheap. I actually bought this for only like 2 Exalt. So this is a less than 700 DPS weapon, 674. I'm checking it in the path of building right now. It doesn't even have crit strike or anything like that. This is faster, that's why I am using this. Also, I tried to get some crit multiplier for some extra DPS. So if you have a higher budget, you can maybe buy something with 800 DPS, those kind of stuff, or something that also has a crit chance. So this is probably something that you should use while mapping, because Marohi Erqi is very slow. Because I actually enjoy ground slam a lot while mapping, that's why I'm also using ground slam. So the gem links are obviously in the path of building. So if you bother weapon swapping, you should probably play as I did, because this is very fun and it is faster. Helmet. I just wanted to get some DPS. This is probably the only, maybe a little hard to find piece, but you don't need every stats actually. So nearby enemies have -9 fire resist for some extra DPS and crit multiplier probably. If you are missing accuracy, maybe you should get that on the helmet. So this right now has everything, because No one actually plays these kind of builds, I believe. That's why this was very cheap actually. I bought this for like 1 Exalt, but you cannot find anything like this probably right now because the league is also dead. But maybe in a new league you can try to get something like this. So if your accuracy isn't kept, accuracy is #1 stat. After that, nearby enemies have fire resist obviously, some crit multiplier or elemental damage. So just try to get some DPS on the helmet. But again, accuracy is #1 stat if you are not kept at hit chance. So make sure you have something like 100%, that is obviously the cap. But something above 97% maybe, that will be enough. Because if you miss, you will just miss that one-shot opportunity at a boss, which is not fun. So that's why I highly recommend you to cap your accuracy. We are obviously using rare rings and gloves, so there are lots of places to get accuracy. So yeah, also try to get accuracy on those kind of pieces. Body armor. What is this? A hunter-based item for additional curse and also attack save crit. Because these both modifiers are on a hunter base, these kind of chests. This is actually an endgame chest, obviously. It is not that expensive. Probably something like 8-7 Exalt without some crazy resists. I bought this for 10 Exalt actually. But obviously, again, the prices may be different right now because the league is dead. But this is not that expensive for an endgame chest normally. So the curses we are using, let's check those real quick. Flammability from our ring, and I'm also using an Assassin's Mark attached to my Arcanist brand, so we are going to talk about those in the gem section later on. So I am using 2 curses. Let's see how much DPS we lose. I will just check in the Path of Building real quick. So maybe you can skip that additional curse maybe. Let me check. Yeah, you can still one-shot bosses. I still have more than 100 million damage with only 1 curse. So feel free to only get a chest with crit chance, because you want to have almost capped crit chance, so you can just crit and one-shot the bosses. So try to get more than 90% effective crit with Diamond Flask, stuff like that. So feel free to skip that additional curse if you want. Glows. So again, another good piece to get some accuracy. Also life and resist, nothing special. This is a very cheap gloves actually. If you want some extra DPS, try to get a spiked gloves. So that's it. Boots. Again, a place to keep some resist, life, nothing really special. If you need maybe some stats like maybe dexterity, intellect, whatever, you can also try to get those maybe. So overall, boots and gloves are very cheap and easy pieces, and also, you know, you can just put some stats to keep some resist, attributes, whatever you need, accuracy maybe. But boots cannot have accuracy. So just get resist, life and movement speed. If you bother doing some labyrinths, try to get that crit chance if you want to keep your crit, so you can one-shot bosses easier. But Earthquake has 2 damage types, let's say. The first one is initial hit, after that an aftershock appears. So if your initial hit crits, obviously the aftershock will have less crit chance because you will lose that labyrinth enchant. So maybe you can also get a penetration if you haven't killed recently for some probably better DPS. But this is very easy to get, that's why I'm using a crit chance enchant. Amulet Zof's Blood. Because this is a fire convert build, we are playing Chieftain. That's why we want this for some fire penetration and Avatar of Fire, so we don't have to get that on the talent tree. And finally, Anointing Measured Fury. So exert attacks have 1+1 use. So that's our Seismic Cry and Intimidating Cry. I believe Seismic Cry, whatever. So yeah, that is actually way more DPS compared to anything else on the talent tree, because Seismic Cry has more damage per exert. That's why if you chain your attacks, you do your last hit actually will deal way more damage. So the damage you are seeing in the Path of Building obviously is the maximum hit. That's why it is something like 100 million, because Seismic Cry is just broken, and it even got nerfed in 3.14. So it is just got nerfed recently and still very powerful. Rings, a place to get some DPS. If you're still missing accuracy, you can maybe also put some accuracy. Life, obviously. If you have a double curse, yeah, from your body armor, additional curse, you can also get curse on one of your rings at least. You can actually put 2 curses on separate rings. So my curses are Flammability and Assassin Mark. because I didn't want to get an Assassin's Mark ring to make the build, you know, cheaper. I skipped that. That's why I'm using that with Arcanist brand setup at a boss only. So yeah, you can also put curses if you want. So again, life, resist. If you have open suffix, maybe minimum frenzy charges for some additional damage, because each frenzy charge provides 4% more damage and also 4% attack speed and cast speed, but cast speed doesn't matter for this build. Maybe fire damage to attacks, physical damage to attacks, they are not that important because the build will have more than enough DPS. And maybe finally elemental damage with attacks, but I also don't have those. The rings are actually very cheap and easy. Maybe the curse rings are a little expensive, I'm not sure. But overall, most of the items are very easy to acquire, and you don't even need that much DPS on your rings again, because the build has way more DPS than it should have. You can easily one-shot bosses even with a only 4 to 5 corrupted Marohi Erqi. Finally, a belt. So I have a guide on how to craft this. If you are following me, you already know the deal. The only important part about this belt is because it is a hunter based belt, so it has additional life. You don't actually need that. So this is just to min max. You just need life and resist to keep your resist, obviously, and elemental damage with attacks. So you can just get a belt for cheaper than 1 exalt without that hunter influence if you want. But if you want to min max, just follow that guide, make some profit, craft your own belts. Sticking wise is also good because you can also put a jewel. My jewel isn't even crazy, I just put corrupted blood immunity and life, so I don't have to use normal life flask. I am actually using blood of curry because it heals better, so I don't need bleed immunity if I have a corrupted blood immunity jewel. That's pretty much it about the gear. Yeah, let's just check the talent tree now. So let's check the talent tree. First, let's take a look around the Chieftain. So maybe if you don't have your Uber Labyrinth yet, maybe something like that. So this is probably something that you should get last. A Valakos Storm's Embrace, just for some mitigation actually. Generating endurance charges if I have used a Warcry recently. We are using Warcries all the time, so yeah, both Intimidating and Seismic Cry. We're also gonna take a look at those in the gem section in a moment. So yeah, this is something that you should probably get at last. So you should probably first head for this place, Namahu Flames Advance. So this DPS is obviously with the proc up. If you can maximize your time in a boss like Conquerors and Guardians, it is very hard to get that on Cirrus. But on all the Conquerors, other Guardians, you can actually maximize your uptime. So you need to check this. As you can see, this is simply broken. So if you can maximize your uptime on this and just attack the boss whenever your proc is up, you can just check your upper left corner on the screen if you have this buff or not. It has the same icon. So here is what I do. I just wait for this proc to go off, near a boss, maybe a Conqueror. I don't activate the boss, alright? I'm just waiting at a distance for this buff, slamming the ground after I use my Seismic Cry. So I am readying my exerted attacks because Seismic Cry has actually 5 use. You should use maybe 3 or 4 of those, so your Seismic Cry will say something like 1 or maybe 2 on the skill bar. So that means that you only have 1 or 2 attacks left. They are gonna be way more powerful. That's why you need to just use Seismic Cry, slam the ground a couple of times before activating the boss. So once you see this buff on the upper screen and once it is off, it is you don't have it anymore, just rush for the boss because you have something like 10 seconds, maybe not 10, maybe 6 every 10 for, yeah, I believe you only have 6 seconds because you know that the Conquerors have some animation, they spawn, talk, something like that. So that actually takes a couple of seconds. So once the boss is up, you will just have this buff immediately if you can, do what I said. So you can just one-shot the boss. You just need some practice, you can easily do that. So you can easily one-shot Conquerors and other Guardians, those kind of stuff, something like Minotaur. So try to get this buff up, try to maximize your attacks. Hinakura, that's free. Fire damage leech has life, so this is how you leech your life. Because this is a convert build, this also has 50% convert, and the rest is Avatar of Fire from our Zof's Blood. We already checked that in the gear section. This is Avatar of Fire, so you don't need to get this. on the talent tree because the amulet already provides it. And recover enemies in Ash for 10 seconds on hit, so that is more fire damage taken. Also make sure you check it here. Covered in Ash. Yeah, that's pretty much it. And also Tau Hoa. So this is another ancestral that slams with us. You can just see it. It has something like yellow color. Normally we are also using a Fist of War support that also has a ancestral and ancestral. That is a red ancestral. So the red one is Fist of War. The yellow one is Tau Hoa. I'm not sure how much damage this deals because Path of Building still doesn't have any support for this character, this dude. So yeah, but this also slams hard. Maybe you can skip this and see what happens. Maybe you get even more tankier like this, maybe. Or if you want more DPS from your totems, because we are using Ancestral Warchief, you can also get this. As you can see, it provides a lot of DPS. So yeah, but I like this dude, so that's why I am playing like this. So let's check the talent tree, what happens. This is important, you want to be stun immune because the character is very slow. You don't want to get stunned because you will miss all your DPS. That's why this is very important. Transcendent Flash, this is cheap these days. Normally this is more expensive. If this is more expensive or you cannot afford it, it is something like 2 Exalt right now. But if this is more expensive in future leagues, just get a jewel with crit multiplier and life. That's gonna be enough. Because there are lots of strength here unallocated. This provides actually a lot of crit multiplier, as you can see, a lot of DPS. So this is just to get some crit multiplier. So yeah, you need to put it here, by the way. That's why I am showing it, because there are lots of strength here unallocated. Also here 20 strength. Watcher's Eye. Double Watcher's Eye were cheap because this is not a I believe popular combination. This was like 9 Exalt, but you can only get a one mod Watcher's Eye. Even without the Watcher's Eye, you still have enough damage to one-shot everything. None of the bosses in the game has this health. This is, by the way, with the only 45 corrupted weapon. This is not my weapon, by the way. This is my weapon. You don't even need the DPS. That's why I am showing you this, so you can afford the build. So I believe Sirius has something like 70 million health, while he is fully recovered. Maybe, I'm not sure. So even Sirius doesn't have this much HP. You can just one-shot everything, including Sirius, without a Watcher's Eye. I just unequipped that, and only one corrupted Marohi Erqi. This is just simply broken. These kind of slam builds, they are not because popular, they are slow, but I actually love these kind of builds. They are so much fun. It is so much fun to one-shot a boss. So even with a one mod Watcher's Eye, you will probably have something like 95 million damage. And that's just enough. Physical damage as extra fire is very cheap, actually. You can just get that because no one uses that. But if you have the budget, also crit multiplier with precision, or double anger. Fire damage with anger, crit multiplier with anger, penetration, fire penetration with anger. They are very good, actually. You can also combine those. Whatever your budget is, just figure that on your own. But this was very cheap, so that's why I bought this. Some rare jewels. This is actually, I use this on some other build. That's why it has X damage. That doesn't even work. Just crit multiplier, life, and area damage, because Earthquake is an area skill. That's why area damage is also good. You can also get melee damage, two-handed weapon damage, mace damage, melee multiplier, global multiplier, two-handed multiplier. So try to get some crit multipliers and some increased damages. And life, obviously. So the build has a lot of life. This DPS isn't even needed. I can easily push 7k life and play with something like maybe 80 million damage. Something like that. You can still one-shot everything. Other than that, nothing special. Let's just check here. So only one cluster for some leech. Where's that? Fuel the fight. Because I wanted some leech. The build is actually slow. Maybe you don't even need the mana leech. I'm not really sure, but maybe on bosses this is important. If you cannot one-shot, if you maybe mess the combination, the rotation. So that's why having a leech also while mapping probably helps. But we are also using a Cinder Swallow Flask. This actually recovers our mana. But having some mana leech is probably important. That's why I picked this. This is a very cheap large jewel, by the way. You can get attack damage, maybe two-handed damage, but if I'm not sure if everything else is on it. But the most important stuff is fuel the fight, because I wanted to keep my accuracy, and also I wanted to be a little faster because this build is very slow, attack speed wise. That's why I picked martial prowess, attack damage, attack speed, and accuracy. And finally Calamitous for some extra damage because this is an elemental build. You can also do something like this if you want to save some points, only martial prowess and fuel the fight maybe. Again, some jewels, 200 multi, life. This is actually shit. I just had this in my stash, that's why I used it. You don't even need crazy jewels, by the way. Mace damage, multiplier, life. These are very cheap because no one plays with maces. The jewels are overall very cheap. Finally, a thread of hope, a medium thread of hope. That's what you should get. Do not get large, very large, or whatever. You need to type medium ring. The stuff that I got, bravery for some life, some mace damage, those kind of stuff. Also area of effect if I have stunned an enemy. This is happening while mapping, so it is good. Disciple of Unyielding for some endurance charge action. We are also using endurance charges because we are playing Chieftain. That's why we will get 32% damage because we have... No, let's check. Yeah, we have 4 endurance charges plus 1 here. You can even get endurance charges on the talent tree if you want. For, you know, to be tankier. This also has regeneration on this small node here. So you can actually get this. Very good. 5 endurance charges, or even get this. You can even be tankier if you want. And this also provides more damage per endurance charge. Increased damage. So you can also get that. For some friends charge and damage per friends charge. This is plus 1 minimum. The other 2 are on my rings. Plus 1 here, plus 1 here. That's why I have 3 friends charges. Also, that means 24% increased damage. 200 accuracy, crit multiplier, crit chance. Damage while in blood stance. So this is a very good way to get a lot of stuff by using a thread of hope. And I already showed that on the gear section, obviously. Measured Fury, this is our anoint. So that's pretty much it. Let's check the gems. Maybe I will just explain a couple of stuff. So again, I have 2 gem setups because I am using 2 different weapons. Marohi Erqi is our boss weapon. If you can find it also with something with inspiration maybe, but only fortify again is more than enough. That is what we are checking right now. More than enough damage to one-shot everything. This is, by the way, only the aftershock. You first do some initial damage, 40 million, then the aftershock happens. So none of the bosses have this HP in the game. So you need to combine these both, by the way. This is one hit, 100 million and 140 million damage with only one hit, actually. Yeah, that's pretty much it. So this is my mapping weapon. You just press your weapon swap. That is default X weapon. X button, by the way. Sorry. So yeah, that's why I have 2 different setups. So this is Earthquake. Less duration, so that aftershock will occur faster. I actually killed a couple of bosses without this in the video just for some fun, just to demonstrate what happens with 8 Link. Yeah. Element damage with attacks if you have the budget awakened. Fist of War is very important because that is also simply broken. That is that red ancestral that comes, you know, to help sometimes. So yeah. Ela Focus if you have the budget awakened, and melee physical because this weapon has a lot of physical this and also the Marohi Erqi. So that also provides a lot of DPS. Grand Slam. Actually similar stuff. I also want Fortify because my weapon doesn't have Fortify, the mapping weapon obviously. So don't forget that, you want that Fortify to be tankier. Again, Ela Focus, Ela Damage, Pulverize for some additional area. Grand Slam actually has a crazy area of effect, that's why I am using Pulverize to even achieve higher area of effect. You can see that with Seismic Cry it has 64 area of effect. Yeah, very fun. With Herald of Ash explosions, that is very fun in my opinion. Anger as above, Herald of Ash for some damage and also clear speed. And Blood and Sand. You want to press this, use this in Sand stance while mapping, so you will have more area of effect. Once you are at a big boss, just press this, go Blood stance. So you will have more area damage at the cost of area of effect. You can also use Enlighten and put some precision. Actually, without Enlighten, you can also skip precision. As you can see, I actually have enough accuracy, almost enough, let's say. So yeah, you can also skip these if you want, because Enlighten is a little expensive. You know that. You can actually skip Enlighten. if you can keep your hit chance from your gear. Yeah, that's pretty much it. And Warcry's second wind is good because they will have one additional use and also cooldown. Seismic Cry and Intimidating Cry. You just want to press your Intimidating Cry before just attacking the boss, because this has less use, you know. Seismic Cry has 5 attacks of Exert. Intimidating has something like 3, I believe. Yeah, Exert the next 2. With Measured Fury, it will have 3, because this provides 1 additional. So if you just use Seismic Cry, attack 3 or 4 times before a boss, that means that you will only have 1 Seismic Cry left to one-shot the boss. You are ready. But if you also use Intimidating Cry before attacking, because this has 3 uses, you will just run out of all of them. So that's why you need to press this before entering the boss at the last second. If you can even press this near the boss, you will just intimidate the boss. You don't have to do that because the damage is overkill. You can also uncheck this if you want, because you need to use the cry, Intimidating Cry, near the boss if you want that intimidate on the boss. But that is not needed. The damage is more than enough. Let's just check it without the intimidate. Again, just one shot. So you can skip that, just one shot the boss. But the most important stuff is probably you should don't forget to put your brand before the boss gets activated. This is an Arcanist brand. This just casts other skills automatically, so you don't need to press these actually. Just put the brand on the boss, just wait like 1 second. It will just cast that Assassin's Mark Curse. And Wave of Commission, this applies fire exposure. Make sure you check it here, fire, because we are using anger, those kind of buffs. This will deal more fire damage, so that will exposure minus 15 resist. That's pretty much it. Then just attack the boss, because this provides a lot of DPS, as you can see. So don't rush, just wait like 1 second, wait for those Wave of Commission and Assassin's Mark happens, then just one shot the boss. And also don't forget to pop your Val Ancestral Warchief Totem before attacking the boss also, because this also provides a lot of DPS. This is just simply broken. What? You can see that I'm not even talking, you know. That is enough. I have spoken. That's pretty much it. So yeah, that's the end of the guide. I'm not even gonna talk about Pantheons. I haven't even checked those. Maybe I will just put something in the path of building. You can just play with whatever you want. So thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and like. I am preparing a lot of full league start to end game build guides for the new league, and also GGG, I believe, postponed the release date. We are gonna see. I will have probably more time to prepare, so there are gonna be lots of guides. Don't forget to join my Discord. You can also chat with me there, and also you can just maybe share your opinion about the league start builds. Maybe give me some ideas. If you want to see any build that is possible as a league start, just ask in my Discord. Maybe I will also prepare a guide for that, because I'm not explaining what builds I'm preparing right now. So you can just come and chat with me. Thanks for watching, and I will see you later.